Hello there! Today we'll be creating this hamburger still life with acrylic colour. You don't often see still life paintings featuring a hamburger, so it's a bit of fun. We'll be using quite a few techniques to get the most of our paint too, so let's get into it. For this project we'll be using a 40 by 50 centimetre canvas, a tear-off paper palette and an acrylic brush set. For paint, we'll be using the 24-piece acrylic colour paint set, and to transfer the outline, we'll be using an 8B and 2H pencil. The first step is to transfer the outline. You can find this outline along with this reference photo on our website. We have printed this out to A3 sizing. To transfer the scene, first shade the backside of the outline printout with that 8B pencil. Lay it shaded side down onto the canvas. Tape it into position and retrace the outline with a 2H pencil. Once all the line work has been retraced, remove the sheet. At this stage, you may like to redraw some more detail. Next, we place the canvas onto our easel and squeeze out some titanium white and lay a thin coat over the graphite line work. We do this for two reasons. The first is that it seals the graphite so it does not contaminate the paint, and the second is it acts like a kind of gloss gesso so our paint won't soak into the canvas. Allow this coat to dry. With a still life, it's best to break the scene into elements. In this case, the elements are the table, the background, the phone, burger and the energy drink. So first we lay on a coat of burnt umber onto the tabletop. While you're here, take a look around the Create section on our website and uncover a whole heap of free stuff, from free projects, handy tips and tricks and techniques to keep you busy. Allow this to dry, then create a mix of burnt umber with a touch of titanium white and lay this over the previous layer. Backgrounds really can make or break a still life. The idea is not to make the coat one constant tone. So in this case, I create the coat so that it gets lighter as I move across the canvas from the right. This just adds more interest. I squeeze out some raw sienna, medium yellow and titanium white. The trick is to mix the paint directly on the canvas. Start with the raw sienna on the right corner and add a little yellow and white and scrub the paint onto the surface of the canvas. Keep the brush moving quickly and add more white as you move across the canvas. By the time we get to the left side of the canvas, there is only a hint of colour. Then add the light tone under the table. Create a darker mix of burnt umber with lamp black and paint this into the front of the table. The phone and phone case are painted next. The case is a mustard colour and is painted in with a mix of medium yellow and a touch of raw sienna. I then darken this mix with a little more burnt sienna and paint this slightly darker mix around the vertical edge of the phone. This will show that it has a square edge. The screen can then be painted black. We can then add the buttons and other details in with black with the liner brush. So that the paint flows smoothly, a touch of water is added to the black. The burger is the most challenging part of this painting, as there's so much going on. To make the burger look convincing, we need to suggest the textures of it. Have a good look at the photo and think about the texture of the bread and the contents of the burger. The buns can be painted with a mix of yellow ochre, burnt sienna and a touch of titanium white. Darken the colour with some burnt umber and paint in the side of the bun. Keep the coat thin and smooth and scrub on some white onto the top of the bun to suggest a highlight area, and scumble some more white into the edge of the bun for a highlight. In the area of the bread that has been bitten into is a rough surface. The best way to suggest this is to lay the darker underlying tone on, then lay a lighter broken coat over the top, allowing the darker underlying tone to be seen in areas beneath. The contents of the burger is really busy and is handled by laying the darks down first and building up broken tones over the top. The patties can be laid in with burnt umber with white and pink lightly scumbled over the top. The cheese and pickles can be laid in with yellow, tinted with yellow ochre, and the pickles can be laid in with sap green, tinted with white. At this stage, a few crumbs are laid onto the table with titanium white tinted with a light tone of yellow ochre. The wax paper wrapping is laid in with brilliant red and titanium white. But if we look at the reference image, we can see some darker areas where the translucent paper is doubled up. Into these areas, we can darken the tone slightly and lay this in. The backside of the burger is in shadow, so we can add some burnt umber to the red and lay these areas of shadow in. The can is the most fun element of the scene to paint, I think. This is a fictitious can that I created in Photoshop. Zing Power Drink. I lay the lightning bolt in and the wording first so that when I colour over the top, I can see the colour to an extent. Anyway, it has a bright green on the bottom half of the can, and to get that colour, we have to lay lemon yellow down first. Then lay a translucent phthalo green mix over the top. This is called a glaze, and it works because the underlying colour optically blends with the translucent top layer, essentially creating a vibrant, rich new colour. While we have the green paint, the ring pool on the top of the can be laid in. If we refer to the reference image, we can see long blocks of colour extending down the can in darker and lighter tones. This is how the light and reflections play on a shiny surface. We can darken the phthalo green with a touch of phthalo blue for the dark bands and lighten it with white for the lighter bands. The long blocks of colour on the top of the can be created with greys mixed with a touch of phthalo blue. Extend these blocks of colour from the ones in the green part of the can. Once the colouring is complete, repaint in the red lightning bolt and the wording. Finally, we lay a reflection into the phone from the can. Lay in the area with titanium white first, then with more of that green. And voila! Well, thanks for watching. We hope you've picked up something you can use with your art. Otherwise, have fun, keep creating, and we'll see you in the next one.